All right, welcome back, folks. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. Today, I'm going to be going over a much overdue bunch of questions from our mailbag, our third JE mailbag. Before we dive into that, I just want to let you guys know that today's video is brought to you by our sponsor, Interval, who actually sent me this really dope fast charging station. I have the phone here I use in case anyone doesn't know how I record. I now record manually on the camera, no more using OBS. And I use the remote recording thing on my phone. But because of this charging station here, I'm able to, when I want to, I can charge, as you can see right here, my AirPods, which I pretty much never use, but they go right on there. You could charge that. I just threw that. You could also charge the watch, the Apple Watch. So you put that over this thing, and it'll charge that. Mine's fully charged, so I don't need that right now. But if you want to get one of your own, the link is in the description. You can get 10% off your purchase. Again, it has MagSafe charging. It's going to work with an iPhone 15, a 14, a 13, a 12, and of course the Apple Watch and the AirPods, which I just tossed to the ground. They'll probably never work again. All jokes aside, though, definitely get your stay. It's a 3-in-1 setup there. It's got a 4.7 out of 5 stars on Amazon. So special thanks to Interval for hooking me up with one of these. I literally have it every day, just chilling here, put my phone on it while I'm, using the manual, the remote record for my camera. I'm also, able to have it charging. So MagSafe is awesome. If you haven't already given it a shot, you can do so with this charging station on Amazon. Link is in the description. Now back to the video. All right, folks. So let's talk about it because you guys have been very good at participating. JE mailbag number 3. And we're going to go in order of, the order they're giving me. We'll start off with Paul 11B2P. How confident are you in the kicker the Rams drafted? So I'm very confident. For those of you who don't know, this is somebody that I wanted in November during the season. I'm a big fan of Joshua Carty. I think he's going to be fantastic, will be one of the top 10 kickers in football. And I think, the guy's he's built. He's got the leg. He's got the accuracy. Obviously, he kicked at a big time, program. And, I look at him. He wanted to be a Ram. His mom wanted him to be a Ram. I'm very confident he's going to be really good. So I was really happy with the selection. I was not happy when they let go of Matt Gay, but I'm very happy that they got Joshua Carty. Great question, by the way. Bloomylicious. Unless I missed it, is there any news on Ahkello Witherspoon? I don't think he's signed with the Rams again or anyone else, but think he was great last year and would love to see him back this year. He was great last year. I totally agree with you. Last year, he really held his own. Not the best pass rush the Rams have had for their defense, despite the fact they had Kobe Turner doing his thing and Aaron Donald doing his thing. But Ahkello Witherspoon really held his own. Obviously, I'm honoring him with that jersey up there. Big fan of his and, of course, his father. They hooked me up with that jersey. And so, it means a lot to me. That's why I always, I like to display that. I do take it down for, when I'm doing my Yankees content and all that, but I do leave it up for the most part. The news on Ahkello is this. There's no news. He hasn't signed anywhere. I still think that there is a chance the Rams could bring him back because I don't think Trey White is on a contract that really eliminates any possibility of bringing back Ahkello Witherspoon. The Rams had interest. They did get in touch with his agent. They had interest long before he became available with the Steelers. They talked about trading for him. So they've liked him for a while, and he was great last year. So I would not be surprised at all if he signed to the Rams later on in the process. But right now, I think he's just going through the motions. And right now, I can tell you, what he's probably doing is he's probably working his tail off, getting ready for the season, regardless of who he needs to get ready to play for. He'll be ready. So I hope he comes back. But at the same time, If he doesn't, I wish him the best of luck, and I'm going to be a fan of him no matter where he goes. And I think he's a heck of a player. And I don't think he gets enough credit. So we move on. Thanks for the question there. We move on. Neil Gonzalez 551. I just watched a full reel of highlights of Stetson Bennett at Georgia. He was impressive. He certainly has some strengths in his game. Coach has to enhance those strengths in his play calling when he's left on the field, and I believe he will potentially have a successful career as the Rams' future franchise quarterback. But the window may be closing soon because of his age. Maybe in the next couple seasons, he'll have his chance. From the film, you can see he has a wide range of throws and angles in his arsenal, not to mention his mobility and pocket presence as a major factor in this game. I'm rooting for him to make a comeback. Go Rams. Neil, I got to be honest with you. You said Rams future franchise quarterback, and my eyes popped. I think you just saw that. I don't quite believe that's the case. I think he's the Rams future franchise backup. But I don't necessarily think he'll be the franchise quarterback of the future. But I agree with you. I mean, when I was watching the film, from him at Georgia, he was more impressive than I expected going into it. And I said that every time I talked about him in a draft format, I just was like, he was better than I thought. A lot of people count him out. He doesn't have the biggest arm. He's not the tallest. He's not the, whatever. I was really impressed with his film. He graded out as a top 10 quarterback in that draft for me. And I know some people thought he shouldn't even been drafted. I agree with you. I think it'll be really interesting to see the way McVay handles him, and also be interesting to see him get his shot in preseason, which is coming up soon, folks. Preseason is not right around the corner, but we're now under 2 months away, so keep that in mind. Old Man Ghost 219, appreciate you. LOL, I don't really have a question because you are so good at explaining things. Thank you so much. So thank you. I appreciate you. There is one thing, though. Chris Shula mentioned that with Donald, they knew that the opponents were going to plan around him. Now that he is gone, they are not sure what to expect. I think they will figure it out and improve as the season goes on. Super Bowl still in the works. I like this, Old Man Ghost, and here's my thought process behind this. It's a great point. With Aaron Donald not there, that means that there's not a game plan going in. Now, you could say, of course, Aaron Donald, brings in a lot of attention, opens up things for others, and that's true. But in addition to that, he also can clog up, some things, because when you constantly are going out of your way to do this and do that, it's kind of hard, right? It already puts it on the radar, like, oh, okay, so you're going to try this, and we already know. And I think over the course of time, you've seen Dante Fowler's success, and you've seen Leonard Floyd's success, and I think teams have, come to realize that, we're not going to let that second guy eat, in addition to Aaron Donald. And so now with Donald gone, I think it does create an opportunity. It also creates a little bit of a mismatch. Without Donald, they're not as good, obviously. But in a way, it could open up other things, could give them more, opportunities. And they've been prisoners of the moment. Since Aaron Donald walked into this organization, they have called plays around him. They have done defense. They have called a defense a certain type of way. And now they don't have to be prisoners in the moment anymore. Donald is gone. Now they have to find creative ways to get going. It might broaden their horizons a little bit, open up the defense a little bit. So I'm excited to see what ends up happening. Again, it's more unforeseen, nonchalant, not necessarily that they would get better because Donald's gone, obviously, but they could get better because they might go in and try more bold things and find out things work by doing this way instead of going the way that they previously did. So, I like that. You had mentioned that, wasn't really a question, but, I think that you got plenty of dialogue out of it, so it doesn't really matter if it was a question or not. Fernando Cabrera 4455. I guess it's 2 questions. What can we truly expect from Shula? Second, why don't they get another stout middle linebacker to help EJ? Okay, so they don't get another stout middle linebacker to help EJ because, 1, they're expensive, but 2, they don't pay linebackers. And also another thing to keep in mind, linebackers are not going to be on the field as much, at least 2 of them. EJ is always going to be on the field for the most part, but when you're dealing with the different things that they like to do with their secondary and having 3 safeties and having a star and having nickel and things like that, that takes away having a second middle linebacker or inside linebacker. So that's why they don't put the emphasis on there. What can we expect from Shula? Okay, now I read that a little bit better. I know of will be legit. So I think you can expect a guy who is kind of an average of being around Wade Phillips, being around Brandon Staley, and being around Raheem Morris. What that ends up being, I don't really know, but I think just the nature of the way he goes about things and just hearing him speak and everything, I think he's going to translate pretty well. I will say that. Elite Gamer Guy 9483. What is your projection for both Fisk and Verse, meaning potential stats, pro comp, what they could potentially mean for this defense? Also, can Fisk be our next Aaron Donald? So I'm going to say no. Fisk is not going to be the next Aaron Donald. I don't think anybody will. But I get what you're saying. Can he be that kind of guy that can, take on double teams? Can he be the guy that keeps offensive coordinators and game plans up at night trying to figure out how to stop him? Yeah, I think Fisk can be that. I think that's fair. Being the next Aaron Donald, not fair. But so my projection for both Fisk and Verse, potential stats, pro comp. Pro comp. I don't really have one. And here's the thing. I'll never force a comparison. Never. If I'm not feeling it, I'm not forcing it. So, comparisons to me, I think are the best when they come to you just naturally and you're like, bam, I see it. This is exactly how it's going to be. This is who he is. This is what he does, so forth. But if I'm forcing it, it's not going to be as good. The comparison will be forced. It's not, So I won't do that just because nothing's coming to my head now. Really nobody reminds me, like none of those guys, comparisons or anything like that. But projections, Verse, let's see. I like 12.5. I've liked that number for a while. I like 12.5 sacks for Verse. I like 8.5 for Fisk. That's pretty much 8.5. That's about what I would say. As far as tackles for loss, whatever, not going to get too much into that. But that's how I have it. So, will any player in the Rams have a sophomore slump? Asking at Hudson Bowman. Great question. I'm sure there'll be somewhat of a sophomore slump. I mean, Avila could take a step back, moving to center. It's possible. Kobe Turner could take a little bit of a step back, taking on more responsibility. Puka Nacua could take a step back. I don't see it, but it's certainly possible for guys to have a sophomore slump. Am I counting on anybody doing that? Not really, but I wouldn't be surprised just because the way football is. Edwin Estrada 716. If the Rams weren't able to sign Tre'Davious White, but did sign Darius Williams and vice versa, with White being signed and not Williams this offseason, do you think the Rams would have signed Steven Nelson before he retired, or would they have gone for somebody else? So apparently the Rams were actually going to sign Steven Nelson, and then he did retire, which also gives me more vibes and more, feeling that Ahkello is still in play here, because they were interested in Steven Nelson before he retired. He turned down essentially signing with them. So I did hear about that. I did see that. Steven Nelson would have signed if he wasn't retiring. He decided to retire. So I think ultimately it wouldn't have mattered because Nelson was going to retire anyway. He was dead set on doing so. But the Rams were interested, and that's a guy that I, in our series, during the offseason, talking about free agents that they could go after in the cornerback series, cornerback portion of the series, I did mention Steven Nelson as an option, so it wasn't a surprise to see that they were interested. He made a lot of sense. Oddball 57. Hey, Jake, I'm begging you to please see if you can make it happen and join your brothers and sisters, dedicated longtime Rams fans this season at SoFi. Bring your dad along with you to the game that every truly loyal supporter should be at. The home opener on September 22nd against our despised rivals. You can make a huge difference just with your presence. Help us repel the Red Hordes and help stop the Niners invasion. You are by far the best content online. Thanks, Ride or Die Rams. Oddball, appreciate you. Can I guarantee I'll be there? I cannot, unfortunately, but we will see. I would love to go, but obviously airfare and everything, it is a lot. And it's funny because, I'll have people be like, I'll pay for your ticket. And I'm like, dude, that's so nice. But at the same time, I still need to pay for, a hotel or, Airbnb, Uber, because I don't think I'm going to rent a car down there. So Uber, Airbnb, airfare. I mean, that's the thing. A lot goes into it, coming from upstate New York and going to LA. I mean, when I'm going across the country, it's tough. And now, of course, that I've moved out and I'm in my own apartment, it can be a little tougher. So I would love to do it, but it has to make sense logistically. And as of right now, I don't know for sure. And that's not a no. That's just me saying I don't know. I would love to, though. I mean, if I had it my way, and maybe at some point, folks, we'll get this channel to 100,000 subscribers. I'll have the money to be able to just go to any game I want and fly back the next day and not have to worry about it. But until that happens, we're in this boat where I have to just be like, it's up in the air. But I'd love to go for sure. Fernando Cabrera, 4455. Also, why did the Rams wait to let AD leave anytime they gave him real help? Up front, Rams made it to the Super Bowl, Von Miller, Sue, etc. So are you okay? So you're asking why did the Rams wait for AD to leave before they gave him help up front? It's worth noting they didn't sign anybody up front. They drafted them. I think that was the plan all along. I think they just wanted to draft guys. AD didn't retire because there weren't enough guys up front. AD didn't retire based on the quality of the team. AD just probably at this point, based on what he was talking about, just seems like he wasn't really into football as much. And so he decided to retire because it started to feel like a job to him. He wasn't as passionate about it. I actually just did that with writing. It just got to the point where it felt like a job and I wasn't having fun. This doesn't feel like a job. I know it's a job. I know it's work. But end of the day, I love making videos. So much so, I have multiple shows covering the Rams, covering the Yankees, covering the NFL. Like, I love doing this. But if at any point, I made enough, like Aaron Donald, I made enough to retire and I just wasn't feeling the passion anymore, then yeah, maybe I would just give it up. But I don't think AD left for any other reason than his personal reason, because this team is about ready to win it all. I don't think AD would have left if he really, really wanted to play and it was just more so competitive nature. I think this was all personal. I think it just, at the end of the day, he just wasn't as passionate about the game as he used to be. And that's really what it comes down to. Paul Morbidelli, 5869. Are you excited about Desjuan Johnson? I'm looking forward to seeing him. Yeah, Desjuan Johnson was one of my guys in that draft last year. And, I thought he came on strong towards the end of the season, down the stretch. And, he's somebody that I think is being slept on a bit because now you have these names like a Tyler Davis even, obviously Braden Fisk and Kobe Turner doing what he did and Bobby Brown. But Desjuan Johnson's still in this mix and, good rotational player. Really, I love the athleticism. I love the quickness. I love the mental toughness. And I love just his overall motor. Do not count him out. I'm very excited to see him and his development. Genesidin 2460. Sorry if I butchered your name. It's the way it shows up. It's all a screen name, so I don't know if it goes together or Gene Sedin or Sedan. Gene Sedan. I'm butchering it up enough, but you get it. I appreciate you. And yes, Jake, such a big fan. Love the content. My biggest concern is the youth up front on our D-line with Kobe, Verse, Fisk, and BY. I have no doubt they're talented, but I'm worried about the endurance of a long NFL season. BY even made the statement last year he ran out of gas. I feel rotational pieces will be more important than ever. Your thoughts, Gene? Okay, so sorry, first off, Gene, for totally butchering your name. Again, it doesn't help that, and I do not understand for the life of me why YouTube has screen names. We don't need screen names. This isn't Twitch. This isn't Discord. We don't need screen names. This isn't AIM. Some of you out there are probably like, what the hell did he just say? That's the reality is just give me the first and last name. It's really not that hard, but they give me screen names. It always makes it hard. So sorry about that, Gene. To answer your question, I think they have plenty of rotational pieces. Here's why. You talk about Kobe, Verse, Fisk, and BY. Okay, and obviously not calling you out, but just giving you the heads up here. No mention of Brown. No mention of Desjuan Johnson. No mention of Tyler Davis. Right. No mention of Brennan Jackson and O'Shawn Mathis and Nick Hampton, who apparently had a really good camp. They have plenty of rotational pieces. So I'm really not worried about the rotation. I agree, though. BY did run out of gas. He's not going to do it this year, I don't think. So I'm really not worried about the depth there. But I do like the question, and I appreciate the compliment there, saying you love my content and you're a big fan. Sorry I butchered your name. That absolutely sucks. I wish I could take it back, but I can't. And I'm going to keep it in here because these are all going to be uncut. It's why, of course, the beginning of this, of course, I dropped the, I already forgot. I dropped the AirPods, and they just, I think it's alive. I think maybe I cracked the case a little bit, but that was all one take. I didn't re-record that. So that's in there. Waddy Savage, what worries you most about the Rams this season? What is the weakest link if you had to choose? What worries me the most? Man, that's hard to say because there's just not a lot. I guess linebacker, because if Ernest Jones goes down, I do think there's a considerable drop-off, regardless of how I feel about Roseboom and Hummel and Reeder and so forth. There is a drop-off. Ernest Jones is a top 10 backer in football, and then after that, you have a significant drop-off no matter who you're talking about, whether you like him or not. So I would say that's the weakest link. There's just not a lot of depth, which makes sense because they just don't like building their roster that way, which I get. But yeah, if you were to go down, that's significant. I'll say that. Ray Mundo Rodriguez ZG. Thank you, YouTube, for making it a screen name. Unreal. Do you think the Rams media team or the Rams in general should make strides to grow the fan base, like the Rams media teams pushing more content out or Rams getting more involved in the community? Or do you think that with more time winning and being in LA, this will come? From what I've seen, they've always been active on that. But what would you say they're proactive? What do you think about growing the fan base in general? Does he even need to grow? This is a fantastic question, probably one of my favorites. I'm going to be entirely honest, okay? I'm a big fan of the Rams media team. I think the quality of content they put out there is fantastic. Just from, getting to know video cameras and shooting and 4K, 8K, all that crap. I think their filming is awesome. Their editing is awesome. I mean, the soundtrack they use for Behind the Grind is great. I love it. The theme is just really exciting and intense. I'm a big fan of the media team. The Rams feel like they get really involved in the community as well locally. I'm in New York. I can't really speak on that. But I will say this, okay? No holds barred. I'm not holding any punches back when I say this, okay? And this is not the Rams media team, and this is not the Rams community team. The Rams PR department, okay? If they ever see this, you want to grow the fan base. Because keep in mind, the Rams have fans from Cleveland, because the Rams started in Cleveland. They went to LA. They moved from LA, so they lost some fans from LA. Obviously, I know there are a lot of diehards that never gave up on the team, but there were still other people that moved on to different teams. They moved to St. Louis. They left St. Louis. This is a fractured fan base. It doesn't mean that it's not growing. It doesn't mean that there's not a lot of fans. But the reality is you have not stayed in LA your whole, life, right? Your whole life cycle, you went from Cleveland, LA, St. Louis, LA, right? So fractured relationship with Cleveland. There are not many Cleveland Rams fans out there. There are probably some, but not because they used to be in Cleveland. That was a while ago. St. Louis, you pissed off St. Louis fans. Now, I'm not saying you're right or they're wrong or they're right, you're wrong, whatever. I'm just saying you left St. Louis. There's still a lot of St. Louis fans there, but there are a lot of fans that root against the Rams in the Super Bowl against their freaking arch rival Patriots who cost them their dynasty. So what am I getting at? Why did I call out the Rams PR department? Because of this, okay? You have channels like mine on YouTube that literally nonstop cover the Rams. All right? I've never once been asked to do anything regarding this team. Now, the media team, right? They soundbite my clips and whatnot. They've put it into videos and things, and I'm appreciative of that. But guys, I went on the Cincinnati Bengals radio network before I went on the LA Rams radio network or the LA Rams station. Okay? There you go. If you want to grow your fan base, I'm growing a fan base on here. You guys are awesome. Okay? We're almost at 27,000 subscribers. Just a dude in upstate New York talking about the LA Rams, right? So, what am I getting at here? The PR thing, I love this question because I get to actually say what I want to say. I'm not going to hold back. I don't think the Rams PR does enough. I don't. If you ask me, they're not reaching out to me. They're not reaching out to some other creators. If you want to do more, if you want to grow this thing, stop looking at it like it's a newspaper and you only have to have the people in the paper that you're focusing on, that you're giving credentials to. Right? Because the reality is there are, you look at the Packers, you have plenty of, reporters and so forth, right? But how many of them are as popular as Tom Grossi and what he's done on YouTube? I don't think any of them are more popular than Tom Grossi. So I hate to say get with the times, but that is what we're lacking, folks. If you want to know what's holding back the Rams, their PR department doesn't put it out enough on YouTube. They're not collaborating with me. They're not collaborating with other big Rams creators. And so the growth isn't as there as it should be. And I feel like if they collaborate with us, because technically I give them free PR all the time. I talk about stuff all the time. I'm constantly putting the Rams out there. I'm talking about them now while they're on vacation. They're not even doing camp right now, but I'm talking about them. And other people are as well. So I think really in this sense, if you want to grow the fan base, obviously the community outreach has been great. They do a lot of, community programs and all that, and that's great. But as far as the media relations and not Rams media team, the ones that create the videos and all that, that's not what I'm talking about. But the people who are in charge of, interviews and stuff, I don't know, make the players more readily available. Bring them on. We're a reputable place. We've had plenty of Rams players in the past. We've had coaches. Kurt Warner came on here. We've had so many guests on here, and yet it's like pulling teeth trying to get a player to come on here because the Rams are so protective. So to answer your question, and I've continued to go off on it, but if you want to, just think about it. If you want to grow, be more open, adapt. If the Rams PR team reached out to me and was like, hey, we'd love to do what, John Boy and Talkin' Yanks is doing with the New York Yankees. Did you know that the New York Yankees, their Yes Network, Yankees Entertainment and Sports Network, they have a deal with Talkin' Yanks who started off as a small Yankees podcast on YouTube and grew to the point where now they have a deal with Yes Network. They air their podcast. Could you imagine if the Rams aired Downtown Rams on like their, whatever, their website or their YouTube channel or whatever? That's the type of stuff that I think they're lacking. And that's just my opinion. They can run their business however they do. I don't work in the NFL. I'm not an NFL PR guy. But I think, in my opinion, to answer your question, that's what they lack. If there's one thing that is lacking in the Rams department and their growth, because I do think they need to grow in the fan base, there you go. Connect more with the creators, not just celebrities, because they do that a lot. They'll be like, oh, we got this celebrity on TikTok, or oh, we brought this celebrity to SoFi. No one cares. Start collaborating with the creators. And I'm not just talking about myself, but the people, the top creators for this team. Start collaborating with them and you'll start seeing better results. That's just my opinion. Also, one last thing, while I have you, give the reporters a microphone in the press conferences. Don't just give Sean McVay or whoever at the podium the microphone. We can't hear the damn questions. All right, that's all I got for you guys. Just figured I'd put that out there. Ray, thank you. One of my favorite questions. That went on for a while, but it had to be said. So, Wadhams, what are the top 3 things you're most excited to see from this Rams team next year? Top 3 most exciting things about this team. I'd say number 1, I'm really excited to see Cooper Kupp back to form again. That is really exciting to me. 2, I'm excited to watch playoff football again because the Rams are 100% going back to the playoffs. I think they'll be back in the Super Bowl. And number 3, I'm excited to see Chris Shula, in his defense. I think this guy has a lot of pressure on him. Not many are taking him seriously. I think they will at the end of the year. So that's what I would say there. Last 2 questions here. P-Tran Jake, I think you and I both agree the Rams defense has potential to be better without Aaron Donald. What is your rationale for that line of thinking? For me, I think it's because teams no longer could focus on only Donald double and triple teaming him. Now the pass rush is going to come from multiple players and multiple positions, not just pretty much Donald. Basically, pick your poison. Is it going to be Turner, Young, Verse, Fisk, Brown, or Jones? And then Manuel Correa, appreciate you. You're always in the comments section showing love, so I really appreciate you there. Also commented below, don't forget Brennan Carnage Jackson. P-Tran, we are in agreement. Now, my rationale, I think I mentioned it earlier, obviously, covering a different question that was similar. But the reality is, if you want to know why the Rams have a better chance of being better without Aaron Donald, why it could be different, is not just because of what the defenses are doing to approach this, the offenses are doing to approach this defense and their game plan, but now the Rams kind of open up the curtain. They can see different things that they weren't able to, they weren't privy of really, diving into in the past, because they're like, this is our process. Aaron Donald makes this easier, and this is when this works, and this does this, and this does this. Well, now Aaron Donald's gone, so you have to find new creative ways to get things going and get things done. And so I think with that said, I think a lot of, what I'm saying here, it's going to open up the door where Chris Shula is going to find, hey, this thing works here. And we wouldn't have found that if Aaron Donald didn't retire, because we had to get creative with Aaron Donald out. So, yeah, I totally just ran out of space on my memory card. That's how much I've been rambling on. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video. It's going to take a hell of a lot of time to edit, which is hilarious. But yeah, to make a long story short, I think that Aaron Donald not being on the defense is going to force Chris Shula's hand to try creatively to get more pressure on the quarterback. Therefore, they will find things that work that they didn't attempt to do before. That's what I think. Who knows? Maybe I could be wrong. Maybe different creative ways to disguise the defense, generate more pressure, generate more hesitation from the quarterback. Those are my thoughts, P-Train. And I had a long response, but it got cut off. So that's what you'll end up seeing. This thing has been quite the hassle to record. Serves me right, by the way, for rambling on, but that it is what it is. Last question, JP2322. By week 5, we'll be talking about how McVay keeps abandoning the run despite the improved O-line and addition of Blake Corum. History shows us McVay abandons the run despite having a successful running game. So why are you sold on the Rams running game being the bread and butter this season? I have to see it to believe it first. Sorry. Well, JP, I really don't think he's going to continue to abandon the run. I also don't think that the Rams are going to be in the position that they were in last year where they have to run the football to have success. Last year, the run had to set up the pass. I don't think that's the case this year. It's exciting, and I think the run game is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to it. But I think a healthy Cooper Kupp, a healthy Puka Nacua, Matthew Stafford, and that offensive line, we always talk about what it'll do in the run game. We don't talk enough about what it's going to do in the passing game. I think Matthew Stafford is going to be in for maybe his best year of his career. And so for that reason, I don't think he's going to have to run the ball as much as he did last year. He still could, but I'm not too worried about that. So do I think it's going to be their bread and butter? I don't know. I think you're still going to see a lot of success in general, and this is going to be a top 3 offense. But yeah, history shows he does abandon the run. I think last year he found something, and I don't think he's just going to abandon things that work. But who knows? I've been wrong before. He said he's rejuvenated. We'll see. My next video, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch the Sean McVay, Chris Long interview, which I haven't done yet. I'm going to watch that, and then I'm going to react. Give you my cliff notes, my thoughts, all of that. And then I think we'll do the Demarcus Robinson, Tutu Atwell, previews in our series. Keep that thing going. But hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys soon. Later, folks. Do you love talking about the Rams, the NFL, or just want to be a part of a community? Join my free Discord server today. We're over 800 members. We got 24/7 live chat, a level 3 boosted server, the ability to call into JE Live, playing online games with us on Kick streams, toggleable alerts for when I go live on YouTube or Kick so you don't miss a live stream, and exclusive giveaways. Click the link in the description, the comments section, or the link that comes up in the video to learn more and join today.